JL Rock, percent off collector. We're here with another action figure unboxing and review, and I'm happy because I've been wanting to open this up for a while because a lot of figures that I get are usually good guys, and I really wanted to have a character that's just like you can fight against and use for pictures. I do pictures on Instagram under percent off collector, and today we're going to be looking at the Uncanny X-Men Marvel Sentinel, and this is really sweet. It reminds me of the old school 97 cartoon Sentinel. And what's best about this, as a percent off collector, I always like to get a deal. You know, there's some things that I'll just buy no matter what because I want it. But in this case, I probably would have bought it eventually. Usually not when it first came out. But I was able to pick this up at Ross for only $5.99. So if you guys have a Ross in your area, hit it up. Or Ollie's. We don't have Ollie's out here in Washington. But with that, let's look at the package. So I do love these the card that it comes with. I think that it looks sweet. Like that artwork is just, it looks awesome. It looks straight out of the cartoon, comic book, same thing as far as I'm concerned. And it looks really nice. And I just like the presentation. It's cool. It's big. I mean, it's a big package. I had to make sure with the camera there's enough room so you can see everything. And then on the back, you have the information on him, or it, I guess, Marvel Sentinel, and it tells how they were made and all that, and I thought it was really cool. I always liked how the Sentinels came about and how, you know, at first it kind of seemed like they could be a throwaway character that you just beat up. Like if anyone remembers the old school 90s arcade game, which was just incredible, where you could play 4, even 6 players, you know, Sentinels were just like throwaway guys that you would beat up. But as time goes on, you had, you know, the Sentinels that can do all types of stuff, and you know, they were like, became a real threat. Like they could learn to adapt the powers, and I think you had Master Mold, and I think Nimrod was one of them. So really cool. So I really love them as a bad guy, where it's like on one hand it can be throwaway, but on the other hand they can also be very sweet. So this is pretty locked in tight. I was when I first looked at it too, I was like, wow. Like if you look at the way it's designed, this is locked in tight. So we're gonna, instead of having me rip this open to make a lot of noise, we're gonna use a little movie magic and then get this thing open and show you what it looks like. Alright, so here he is out of the package, and you'll be glad that I did this way because there was a lot of, you know, plastic rattling. But let's look at the accessories that it comes with. So the first one is the blaster effect here. And here, let me move this out because my camera loves to focus on the foreground. So if you look here, you see this is basically the effect for his palm cannon. So that's a cool blast effect, really good for putting together pictures and posing and stuff like that. And I'll show you that on his hand. And then you have the head, the damage head, which I always thought that was cool, because one of the best things about having any type of robots or stuff, especially back in the day when there was less violence and stuff allowed on cartoons, is you could just blow up and do all kinds of things. So I do love having, you know, this kind of almost like Terminator-like destruction on it. Alright, so let's look at the figure itself. So amazingly, when you feel it, it feels kind of interesting as far as like the plastic, and there's really not that much articulation to it, but I'll say in this case, I get it that you're thinking robot, but I don't know, it's like, I kind of wish it still was. Like, I don't want to just be like, oh, well, it's a Sentinel, so it's going to be stiff. I mean, yes, if you watch especially the cartoons and stuff, they were pretty stiff. It's not like they were doing acrobatic moves, but I just think that if you were able to do a little bit more posing with it, like at least if you were able to bend at the elbows and the knees, that it would more represent things that you could do with the figure. So maybe that's why it ended up being $5.99 at Ross, because I didn't actually look up what the original cost was, but I just don't think that I'd be paying like $20 for this. I mean, like, it's cool and all, but we'll go through like the articulation real quick because it's going to be real quick. So look, I mean, there's nothing with the feet, there's nothing with the knees, You can just do your standard motion with the legs. Can't really even go, can't go back at all really with the legs, which I mean I don't care really that about. Now you can rotate at, I guess what would be the wrist, even though this is really the wrist, but you can rotate here. You can't really, not even say can't really, you can't move the fingers or anything like that. Those fingers are locked in. And then there's no bending anywhere around here, no elbow or anything, just the shoulder. And you can't flare out the shoulder. It's just basically a rotation like this. There's no even waist turn, which I think for a robot you should have at least had the waist turn. But the head, you know, you can do the whole rotation, but I mean also I think that's mainly because you can remove the head. Um, so you can see, and what's kind of interesting here is like, I do wish that that palm was a little bit more. Like, those are one of those things where it's like, you could have put some design into that, right? Like, put a little something around here to make it look better, like when you're firing it out. I mean, I understand that basically you're going to be doing like the blast effect like that. You know, you could be doing a blast effect like that, which is cool. But I just felt that, man, if you would just put a little bit more design into it, it just feels like it's just left too much plain. And I get it. In the, you know, those of us who watched the cartoon, there wasn't that much design to the Sentinels, but I just thought it should be a little bit more. But I mean, the basis of it is cartoon accurate. I mean, the belt, the little thing on the chest. I mean, look at the back. Very, very basic on the back, nothing crazy. So, you know, and as far as the head comes off really, really easy. And you're able to swap it and then put on the damage head. So, I mean, again, I'm not upset with it or anything, but I just think that for $5, you know, well, I think it was $6, $5.99. So for $5.99, this is fine, but I don't think I would have paid more for that because this is very basic. But I think the key here is being able to have kind of an army, which also kind of is better if you were able to get it cheap. I think I've actually, now that I remember, I think I've seen this for like over 20 bucks, which is just insane for this toy. But, you know, I guess that's up to you to decide. Let me know in the comments. Do you think with what I've shown you so far that you'd pay over $20 for this figure? For me, I would just say no. Even though I do have the nostalgia of it, I just would say no. But let's take a look at it compared to some of my old school Toy Biz figures. All right, so I don't have open yet any of my other, you know, X-Men 97 figures, but these are some of the Toy Biz ones that I've gotten from different sales. So it's kind of cool because I always liked the idea that they were larger. Like in the cartoon, they were larger, like at least double, maybe 2.5 times the size of a human. So I do like that. And whereas with those 97 figures, it'd be a little bit too close. At least with these older Toy Biz figures, it actually does kind of, you know, match like how big they would be. It's still a little bit short. I think if I remember in the cartoon, you went up to maybe their thigh, maybe just barely above the knee or something like that. So they were pretty towering robots that were sent out. So I have to say, you know, it's pretty cool. So as you can see, just a actual close comparison as far as size. You know, this is like old school Toy Biz, and then this is the new one. So overall, like I said, not bad. Let me put it on the turntable for final thoughts. All right, so as I said, I think that for me, it's more about the price in the end. This is just really basic, and I think that if this was just a lower end as far as cost figure from the beginning, then it could be good for, you know, like troop building, bad guy building, because obviously there's so many Sentinels that were in the animated series and in the comic books. But now that I remember that this was over 20 bucks at some point, I just don't think that that matches what you get. It's just very, very basic, even though it does look accurate to the cartoon. So for me, that's just the thing. It's like, yeah, half of me is like, oh, it looks like the cartoon. That's cool. I understand it. but then the other half of me is like, man, it seems so plain compared to other figures. But for $6, I have no problem with it. Let me actually turn up some brightness so you can see a little bit more. So for $6, I have no problem with this. Unfortunately, at Ross, things do run out. Not only do you have a lot of collectors get stuff, but I saw like a reseller in there like grabbing like 5 or 6 of these, and I was like, okay, whatever. But if you're able to get some of these, because sometimes if you do have a Ross, you'll find them somewhere, but it all depends. But overall, for the price, I'm happy. You do get the additional head, so that's cool. You do get the fire effect. I just wish it had a little bit more articulation so you could do more with it. But if you like these type of reviews and videos, please consider giving us a like, sub, all that good stuff, especially because we do at least about 2 to 3 videos a week. And hey, thanks for geeking out as we took another look at this awesome action figure unboxing and review series that I've just had so much fun doing. And please leave comments of what you think of this figure overall. But until next time, remember my motto: no discount, no deal. Catch you next time.